Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. 5 o'clock. Good morning. It is Thursday, June 12th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today, hot and humid. The high going to be 91. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 69. And then Friday, sun and clouds, high 80. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 69 and clear in Northport out on Long Island, 65 and clear in Butler over in New Jersey, and it's 70 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
The top 5 at 5.
There is a lot of bad news for Andrew Cuomo in a new poll. Anti-ICE protesters back out again in Lower Manhattan. A heartbreaking end to the search for a missing 2-year-old. Wait, how much do LIRR workers make in overtime? And a dog is definitely not a mailman's best friend. All right, let's get into it. 501 down to Lower Manhattan, where the protesters, the anti-ICE protesters, back out again, upset about the policies of the Trump administration and those countrywide raids and roundups of illegal immigrants. Demonstrators were cuffed for not clearing the access point to Federal Plaza downtown. Like the night before, demonstrations started at Foley Square before moving to Broadway and then later up to the Manhattan Detention Center. Now, this was way smaller than it was on Tuesday night. There was almost 100 arrests on Tuesday night. We don't have a number from last night, but there were just hundreds as opposed to thousands of demonstrators as the night before. Mayor Adams saying that some of the biggest troublemakers so far this week are people who are not from New York City.
We are aware that there are members from Antifa who have made their way into the city, and we saw this before. This is not the first time we have saw outside agitators that continue to disrupt the right to protest.
Now, hours before this 5 p.m. rally began, it went into the night. You could see police on the move, rolling in strategic response teams to make sure they were in place long before any potential arrest. Now, amid the chaos of Tuesday night, there was video that was captured what appeared to be federal agents firing some sort of smoke into a crowd of protesters. Now, the NYPD says they did not call in these federal agents and not sure why they were there.
We did not work with the federal government last night. That was an independent act that wasn't coordinated with the NYPD by no way, shape, or form. And
the NYPD doubling down yesterday, saying they had Tuesday night situation under control, did not ask for federal law enforcement help, creating some concern on their part that they were there. Here's Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
We do not engage in civil immigration enforcement, period. We don't know where ICE is in the city. We don't know when they're conducting raids. We don't know where they are conducting raids.
And the commissioner saying that she told federal partners that New York is not Los Angeles, suggesting New York has a handle on these kinds of things because they handle so many protests throughout the year.
It is our responsibility to maintain safety and order on our streets, and we will not abdicate that responsibility.
And Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner, going to be on with Sydney Ferris at 8:15 this morning. No doubt it'll be a great interview. Make sure you're here. 8:15, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, and on Sid and Friends in the morning. A federal judge has ruled the government must release Mahmoud Khalil, the former Columbia University grad student who the Trump administration said it was trying to deport over taking part in those pro-Palestinian demonstrations at Columbia University. But Khalil, who is a legal U.S. resident, will remain in custody till at least tomorrow, giving the government time to appeal this latest ruling. Here is a lawyer for the New York City ACLU.
The court confirmed what we've known all along, that the government cannot detain or deport Mahmoud Khalil because Marco Rubio said so. Mr. Khalil has been targeted for his pro-Palestine advocacy, and ideas are not illegal.
Lawyers and spokespersons for the Justice Department, which is handling the case, they did not respond to email seeking comment. Khalil, detained by federal immigration agents, you'll remember back on March 8th in the lobby of his Columbia University-owned apartment building, the first arrest under President Trump's crackdown on students who joined campus protests against the war in Gaza. 5:04. A pair of teenage girls in Queens are looking at some serious prison time after just a brutal attack on another girl at a subway station.
The two 16-year-old Elmhurst girls were arraigned Tuesday on attempted gang assault, grand larceny, robbery, and assault. Prosecutors say the girls and their victim all go to William Cullen Bryant High in Astoria. Cops say they followed their 15-year-old victim from the school to the 46th Street M&R train subway station, then led an attack. A mob punched, kicked, and stomped the victim's head, face, and body, and someone tased her. She was hospitalized. The girls face up to 15 years in prison if convicted. Andrew Whitman, NBC News Radio, New York.
All right, this has just been a heartbreaking story in New York City over the last 72 hours. An unidentified body of a baby discovered in the East River yesterday. Police say it appears to be the body of this 2-year-old boy from the Bronx who'd been missing for a month. The body found by an NYPD harbor unit on patrol near Ferry Point Park. That's right off the Whitestone Bridge. Authorities say it appears to be Montrell Williams. This is the 2-year-old whose father allegedly threw him into the river about a month ago. Now, they only found out about this in the last couple days. They're waiting on a positive ID. Here's our police.
Our detectives did a good job in getting to this quickly, tracking that video, and seeing the crime committed on the video was heartbreaking.
Yeah, the discovery of the body comes the same day the father of the missing 2-year-old was named as a person of interest in the child's disappearance. Detectives have reason to believe this 20-year-old dad threw him into the Bronx River near the Bruckner Expressway. The 2-year-old's grandparents, the father, the mother of this 20-year-old, are not sure what drove him to carry out such a just god-awful crime.
I don't have the answer to why he do this, why he would even think of doing this.
My child was a great baby. He was great. It's just hard. It's real hard.
The father did have partial custody of the child. Here's the odd part of the story we just haven't been able to piece together. The 2-year-old was missing for more than a month, and his 17-year-old mother confronted this 20-year-old, and that's apparently when he admitted to her to throwing the toddler into the river, and that's what began the search over the last couple days.
He kept calling him Daddy. He trusted him. He trusted him. He took his life.
Yeah, and then investigators uncovered this surveillance video that reportedly shows the father throwing a bag into the river, and now police believe that child was inside a man. Sort of unbelievable.
Nobody expected this at all, because he loved his son, but I don't know what drove him to this.
Yeah, so what we do know is there was a vigil for the little child last night. His mother did not attend that vigil. WABC News Time, 5:09. 6 people died subway surfing last year, and now the MTA and New York City Public Schools teaming up with a safety campaign.
Subway surfing is the practice of standing on top of a subway car as it hurtles down the track. The Ride Inside, Stay Alive campaign features real city high schoolers making pre-recorded announcements like this one.
Hi, I'm Dahlia, and I'm a New York City student. People who survive brutal subway surfing accidents all say the same thing. It's not worth it. Ride inside, stay alive.
There's a total of 8 recordings from different high schoolers that will start being heard on subways throughout the city this week. The program also features comic books that tell the story of those impacted by subway surfing. I'm Lisa Ritchie for 77 WABC News.
WABC News Time 510. Let's go down to Washington. White House says President Trump is going through the proposed trade deal with China. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president is happy with the work his trade team did in London. They were meeting with both sides in London, the Chinese, the Americans.
He spoke to his trade team, who did a fantastic job negotiating this on behalf of the United States and meeting with their Chinese counterparts. The president is talking to them about the details of it now. But what the president heard, he liked.
Leavitt says China agreed to open their markets, will supply the U.S. with critical rare earth minerals.
China has agreed to open their markets to the United States separately of this deal. And when it comes to this deal, we're going back to the terms that were agreed upon in Geneva for the release of some of those critical minerals and the magnets from China to the United States. And we have agreed to fully comply with the Geneva Agreement as well.
All right, so we don't know when this will be signed off on, but the president did yesterday take to social media, Truth Social, his site that he puts his comments on, and he said that he thought this deal was good. I imagine we'll hear more from him probably even today. 5:11, Israel considering taking military action against Iran, most likely without U.S. support, maybe in the coming days, even as President Trump is in advanced discussions with Tehran about a diplomatic deal to curtail its nuclear program. This, according to people with knowledge about the situation. Israel's become more serious about a unilateral strike on Iran as the negotiations between the U.S. and Iran appear closer to a preliminary or framework agreement that includes provisions about uranium enrichment that Israel views as unacceptable. Now, a unilateral strike or action by Israel against Iran would be a dramatic break, of course, with the Trump administration, which has argued against such a step. The Trump administration is awaiting a response from Iran about a proposed framework of a nuclear deal, and Trump has publicly said Tehran has become more hard line in those negotiations as of late. 5:12, let's bring it back home. Elon Musk says some of the posts he made last week about President Trump may have gone too far.
The SpaceX billionaire got in a war of words with the president on social media last week, which started with his opposition to Trump's massive spending bill and culminated with him claiming that Trump was mentioned in the Epstein files. Musk later deleted the post. Now the billionaire is saying he regrets some of the posts he made about Trump. I'm Lisa Carton.
All right, let's go back out to Los Angeles, where now some charges and people are being arrested in those anti-ICE demonstrations / riots that have taken place since last week. 2 Los Angeles County men charged with throwing Molotov cocktails at law enforcement officers during the weekend protest.
These defendants are charged with possession of an unregistered explosive device in violation of 26 United States Code Section 5861D. Possessing a Molotov cocktail or another destructive device is punishable by up to 10 years in federal prison.
More arrests are imminent, more charges soon to be filed. The higher level crimes, such as Molotov cocktails, looting, arson, assaults, will be federal charges because the consequences are steeper. Here is the U.S. attorney out of L.A.
We have video. We have FBI collecting video. We are collecting body cam. We're collecting social media. We're collecting everything. And we're going to take our time. We're going to identify people. They think the mask is saving them. It's not saving them. We're going to identify them, and we will bring charges.
And it is believed that some of these outside agitators are organized, possibly well-funded, enabling them to come in and try to disrupt federal law enforcement operations.
Some people apparently have the notion that California really is a sanctuary from federal immigration laws. Let me assure you, there is no sanctuary. Federal laws are applicable here, and they will be enforced.
And the ATF special agent, his name's Kenneth Cooper, says one of the people caught tossing a Molotov cocktail at an L.A. County Sheriff's deputy is behind bars already.
We were able to deploy our canine dog to that scene and recover remnants of that device, including wick, pieces of the wick, the bottle.
And meanwhile, it was another night of a curfew in Los Angeles from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. this morning. Los Angeles' mayor, Karen Bass, says having people live in fear over ICE raids is not acceptable. She says it's one thing to go after dangerous people and criminals, but it's different when they're targeting everyday people just trying to support their families.
These aren't the criminals the administration is allegedly targeting. These are mothers and fathers, restaurant workers, seamstress, home care workers, everyday Angelenos trying to make a living.
And she says the White House is out of line in some places here.
I posit that maybe we are part of a national experiment to determine how far the federal government can go in reaching in and taking over power from a governor, power from a local jurisdiction.
President Trump warning, though, that his military response to the anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles may be the first of many, saying protesters in other cities could be met with equal or greater force. All right, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Eller.
Good morning, Noam All-Lit, and we'll start here in Queens. David Peterson pitched a six-hitter for the first 9-inning complete game of his professional career, and the Mets beat the Washington Nationals 5-0 for their fifth straight win and a clinch of the three-game series as well. Up next for New York, they'll go for the series sweep with Kodai Senga getting the start in this afternoon's series finale with Washington, set for a 1:10 p.m. first pitch. From Citi Field in Kansas City, Aaron Judge homered for the third consecutive game. Clark Schmidt allowed just 2 hits over 6 innings, and the Yankees cruised to a 6-3 victory and a series win over the Royals. Up next for the Yankees, they'll vie for a series sweep with Will Warren starting tonight's series finale with the Royals, set for a 7:40 p.m. first pitch from Kansas City. Last night on the hardwood, your final from Indianapolis, the Pacers beating up on the Thunder 116-107, a convincing Game 3 win in the NBA Finals. So the Pacers now jump out to a somewhat surprising 2-1 series lead, and we're looking ahead to...
I don't think that's how you called it, though. Don't you think
that's not how I called
City
it. Yeah, I did think that Oklahoma City was going to win, but the Pacers strong at home, man, last night. Man, I mean, my God, playing strong, hard at home, and getting a big win, jump out to a series lead there. So we shall see.
Now, do we have to wait another? I hate this 3 days in between games.
Yeah, I know, because they're trying to stagger this with the Stanley Cup Finals, and it's a whole cabal, and they try to.
It sucks. You just want them to play.
I know. I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
So when's the next game? Do I got to wait till Sunday or something?
I think the next. What's today? Thursday. So the next game's got to be Saturday.
And that is incorrect.
It's Sunday.
It's Friday.
Oh,
I can handle that. I like that.
Oh, because there's kids they're staying in Indianapolis.
Oh, right.
There you go.
Hey, good for them.
Woohoo! We got hockey tonight, too.
I take that all back, what I just said. Friday's works out perfectly for me.
Wonderful. Noam's going to be watching. We got hockey tonight, too, 8 p.m. Puck drop Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida leading that series 2-1, of course, between the Oilers and the Panthers. That is your Sports Noam. I'm Justin Alex, 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:20. Nearly 3/4 of voters say international students benefit the U.S.
According to a study conducted by Quinnipiac University, 74% of respondents think foreign students enrolled in U.S. colleges and universities are a good thing for the country, while 17% said they think it's a bad thing for the U.S. The poll also found a majority of voters from each party agree that international students have positive contributions on the nation. I'm Brian Shook.
Let's head over to Michigan. This guy's a real genius. He was going to miss his Spirit Airlines flight, so he called in a fake bomb threat to slow it down so he could make the plane. Well, they figured it out. Correspondent Tom Costello reports that passengers were removed from this plane, re-screened on the runway, and within a few hours, the FBI knew who they were looking for.
23-year-old John Charles Robinson, who allegedly admitted to calling in the threat after arriving too late for the flight and telling the Spirit Airlines rep on the phone there's going to be someone that's going to try to blow up that flight 2145.
I told you he was a genius. He did admit that he made the call when they asked him if he did.
In a statement, the U.S. attorney in Detroit says no American wants to hear the word words bomb and airplane in the same sentence. Making this kind of threat undermines our collective sense of security and wastes valuable law enforcement resources. Flight 2145 to Los Angeles on Thursday stopped and held on the runway after a caller phoned in a bomb threat.
If you cooperate with me, which I'd greatly appreciate if you could, I will get this done as quick as I can for you.
Everyone on board removed from the plane and screened on the runway by TSA dogs.
Yeah, I mean, they can't do enough to that guy. 521, closing arguments set for tomorrow in the Karen Reed murder retrial taking place up in Massachusetts.
The defense rested its case on Wednesday, and the prosecution said it won't call any rebuttal witnesses. The defense says Reed is being framed by police for the death of John O'Keefe. Reed is accused of hitting her Boston cop boyfriend with her SUV and leaving him to die in a snowstorm in 2022. I'm Brian Shook.
The men accused of torturing an Italian man in a New York City apartment pleading not guilty now.
John Woltz, the so-called crypto king of Kentucky, and his associate William Duplessis of Miami were arraigned on charges of kidnapping, assault, unlawful imprisonment, and criminal possession of a weapon. They're accused of luring a man from Italy to their Soho apartment early in May and then torturing him for 3 weeks to try to get his crypto account password. After being shocked with electrical wires and dangled over a staircase, the victim managed to free himself and find help on the street. Woltz and Duplessis ordered to remain in custody until their next court appearance, July 15th. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
From New York City, we'll head out to Washington State. The search for a triple murder suspect there is changing. The Chelan County Sheriff says they're focusing on specific leads. Travis Decker, who they're looking for, is accused of kidnapping and murdering his 3 daughters at a campsite.
You will not see the amount of resources that we have had out there, but you are seeing a different element of our approach as we continue to track down Travis, following leads.
Everybody involved in this search, U.S. Marshals, FBI.
Every single day Travis is out there, he's going to have to aim for perfection. He's not going to be able to make a mistake because all we need is one mistake and one day to go in our favor, and he's going to be in our custody.
Yeah, I mean, eventually they'll catch up with
him.
He
is surrounded. Washington State knows who he is. We're going to continue to be in there, and he's got a lot of ground to cover. Eventually he's going to tire and he's going to make a mistake.
WABC News Time 523. General Motors planning to invest $4 billion in domestic manufacturing now.
The Detroit-based company will shift some production from Mexico to the U.S. as the automaker navigates tariffs that could drive prices higher. According to GM, the investment will be made over the next 2 years and focuses on its gas and electric vehicles. The new investment will give GM the ability to assemble more than 2 million vehicles per year in the U.S., and CEO Mary Barra said in a statement that the company is committed to building vehicles in the country and supporting American jobs. I'm at Mattinson.
WABC News on 524. 7 families in Arkansas suing to block a new state law that requires the 10 Commandments to be displayed in all public school classrooms.
A federal lawsuit was filed this week challenging the law, which was signed last April by Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and will go into effect in August. The complaint was filed by the ACLU and 2 other groups on behalf of families who are Jewish, non-religious, and Unitarian Universalist. One of the plaintiffs said the new law will infringe on the rights of parents and create a religiously coercive school environment. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
Down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where the Fort Lauderdale-based regional airline Silver Airways announcing yesterday that they're going out of business.
They only had a fleet of 8 turboprops, some of which actually started getting repossessed by creditors as recently as March. So it was just impossible for them to continue operations.
That's travel editor Peter Greenberg says passengers will likely have to buy tickets with another airline. For the employees of this airline, well, they're just out of luck.
Silver Airlines had no real interline agreements with other airlines, and no other airline that I know of is stepping up to say we will honor those Silver Airlines tickets. So you'll almost always have to purchase a new ticket. You can now dispute that charge on your card because you never got the contracted service that you asked for. The airline has about $90 million in assets, but over $400 million in liabilities.
Yeah. And while we're down in Florida, a Florida man facing up to 30 years in prison for pretending to be a flight attendant to book free airline flights.
The Justice Department said Tuesday Tyrone Alexander was convicted of wire fraud and unlawfully entering a secure airport area under false pretenses. Prosecutors said Alexander pretended to be a flight attendant, providing fake badge numbers and hire dates through 7 different airlines.
Yikes.
Before he was caught, Alexander managed to book more than 120 free flights. He's set to be sentenced in August. I'm Michael Kastner.
5:26. Let's bring back home. Go up to Liberty State Park in Jersey City, New Jersey. You know, next year the World Cup will be here. Most of it, or a lot of it, will be played out in the Meadowlands, including the championship game. So they're getting ready because it's a year from today.
Soccer fans will be flocking to MetLife Stadium from all over the world for the FIFA World Cup next summer. But that's not all. Head of the New York, New Jersey Host Committee, Alex Lasry, says Liberty State Park in Jersey City is going to have the official World Cup Fan Festival.
A 39-day celebration featuring live match broadcasts, a blockbuster lineup of entertainment, interactive activations, local food, global culture.
There will be 8 matches, including the World Cup final. I'm Lisa Ritchie for 77 WABC News.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour. Talking the news with Noam Laden. All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now, Talking the News with Noam on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, June 12th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunny today, hot and humid. The high going to be 91. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 69. And then Friday, we'll have sun and clouds, not as hot, the high 80. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are. 69 and clear in Northport out on Long Island. 65 and clear in Butler over in New Jersey. And it's 70 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. Got some breaking news over the last 5-10 minutes. An Air India plane crashed near an airport in western India. This is according to local media there. Don't know how many people were on the plane, if there are fatalities. But Air India took to X, formerly known as Twitter, to say that a flight from that was heading from India to London's Gatwick Airport was involved in what they call an incident. So they didn't call it a crash, but media's calling it a crash. So the airline says it's still trying to figure out the details. We'll share further updates as soon as they come into them. It was scheduled to depart about 1:10 local time, so that would have been about 3 o'clock our time, or 3 a.m. our time. So the plane crashed in a civilian area outside the airport. That's what Reuters is reporting at this hour. Of course, as more detail on this plane crash come into us, we will pass them on to you. WABC News Time 5:38. The second final debate ahead of the Democratic primary election is set for tonight. Now, there are 11 Democrats running in the race. 7 of them have qualified to appear in tonight's debate. Adrian Adams, Andrew Cuomo, Brad Lander, Zohran Mamdani, Zellner Myrie, Scott Stringer, and Whitney Tilson. Now, most polls heading into the debate have Cuomo as the clear front runner, but Mamdani, the socialist assemblyman from Queens, has made some inroads. And there is one poll out from this is like one of these like second level campaigns. They were looking at the comptroller race, but they also were looking at the mayoral race. But it does show that Mamdani is ahead, at least in that poll. But almost every other poll shows after ranked choice voting that Cuomo will be the winner. But either way, you have these analysts, political analysts, that are weighing in. They're trying to figure out what Andrew Cuomo needs to do tonight, and what Mamdani has to do tonight is the last moment to convince voters to vote for either one of them. So here's what one analyst says Andrew Cuomo must do at this debate tonight.
I think the gloves are off. I think Governor Cuomo is going to come in hard, and he understands that the days of just sitting back in the Rose Garden strategy are over. He has to come out hard against Assemblyman Mamdani, and it happens now. It's now or never. If he doesn't hit him hard on his inexperience, on some of his socialist positions, on his involvement with the Democratic Socialists of America, and his anti-Semitic views, well, what is seen as anti-Semitic views by some, he is going to be in potential trouble. So he understands this is it.
Now, Mamdani, if he were somehow to pull this off, would become New York City's first Muslim Indian American mayor. Was born in Uganda, moved to the city here when he was 7 years old, just became a naturalized citizen when he was in school. The debate will be at 7 o'clock tonight. Unfortunately, it's on New York 1, which, so many people don't even have cable anymore. So it won't be easy to watch, but we'll have all the clips and the highlights of this debate, no doubt, tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. So make sure you tune in. By the way, there's another poll out this morning that shows Cuomo with a big lead. So you can choose your poll to your liking. One has Mamdani ahead. Another one has Cuomo ahead. 5:41. There were more protests in Lower Manhattan last night over the ICE raids. These protesters, like the ones in Los Angeles, upset with the Trump administration. They say they're holding these protests in solidarity with Los Angeles. A woman named Dahlia says she showed up at this protest last night. She's a registered nurse, and here she explains why she was there.
Family members that I'm the voice for because they're scared. They can't draw any attention to themselves. I help a lot of people that don't have access to health care, and if it wasn't for people like me and products of immigrants, this healthcare system would fall apart even more than so. So this is personal.
Now, this were not like at all the protests on Tuesday night where they made almost 100 arrests. Now, we don't have a number for arrests last night, but the crowd was way smaller than it was Tuesday night when things turned violent.
They decided to throw items, garbage cans, rocks, bricks, anything that basically wasn't nailed down, and they were picking it up and throwing it, and they were putting debris in the street so that the vehicles couldn't pass. Now, that's not peaceful. That's not peaceful protest.
Yeah, no indication that took place last night, but we'll get more details from Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who will join Sid live on Sid and Friends in the morning at 8:15 this morning. You'll want to be around for that. Deadly drugs. More than a dozen alleged gang members now off the streets following an early morning takedown in Newark yesterday. The interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, says agents in full gear descended on the Kretcher homes, a housing project that's off Freeland Heisen Avenue. Yesterday, they took 7 people into custody in a huge drug ring bust.
A now unsealed federal criminal complaint charges 25 members of the drug trafficking organization with conspiracy to distribute 400 or more grams of fentanyl and 280 or more grams of crack cocaine.
The agency says that with their combined resources, they conducted wiretaps, followed informant tips, used other crime-fighting tools to make these arrests. They seized guns, a significant amount of fentanyl, as you heard there, and cocaine in the process.
Over the past year, the Bloods gang has terrorized the Kretschmer Homes public housing complex in Newark, New Jersey, using violence and fear to operate their drug trafficking business.
These men have wreaked havoc in Newark, selling illicit drugs and defending their lucrative turf by using violence and guns.
And you can tell just how intimidating this gang was, that at the Kretcher homes, the reporters raced over there to say, hey, they've taken a lot of people from the Kretcher homes. Are you thankful now? Nobody would go on camera. That tells you just how fearful they were. Some of these suspects were already in state and federal custody, but the 17 who were arrested Wednesday morning are set to go before a judge. They were set to go before a judge yesterday afternoon. Don't know if that took place. 5:44. The MTA facing some serious scrutiny after a recent report revealed that the agency's total payroll topped $8 billion last year, with hundreds of employees earning 6-figure sums for overtime alone. Did you hear me right? 6-figure sums for overtime alone. The report released by the Empire Center highlights the 629 MTA employees who made more than $100,000 in overtime last year. Of those, 259 of them worked for the LIRR. And you can imagine people who are paying tickets to get on the LIRR every day, not happy about the fact there's so much overtime being paid out.
That's wasteful, man. That's wasteful. And the ticket keeps going up.
It's ridiculous. And I think this is why riders are getting angry.
Okay, so it's not just the LIRR, by the way. Nearly 100 Metro North workers made more than 6 figures in overtime alone. This has those riders a little outraged as well.
I do appreciate the people who work in the MTA. I know it's not easy.
It would probably make more economic sense for the employer to hire more workers so they don't have to pay all that overtime.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just outrageous. $100,000 in just overtime. I wonder what their total salaries were. I mean, we've seen this story before. It's amazing it's back again. All right, 5:45. Let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Allen.
Thank you, Noam Laden. We'll start here on the diamond out in Queens. David Peterson pitched a 6-hitter for the first 9-inning complete game of his professional career, and the Mets beat the Washington Nationals 5-0 for their 5th straight win and a clinch of the 3-game series as well. Brandon Nimmo homered twice. Juan Soto went deep against his former team for the 2nd consecutive night. Pete Alonso put the Mets ahead in the first inning with his Major League high 63rd RBI, his 20th in the past 10 games. NL East leading New York moved to season best 20 games over 500 at 44-24. Peterson won his 3rd decision in a row, striking out 6 and walking none in a game that took just 2 hours and 16 minutes. He threw 106 pitches, lowered his ERA to 2.49 on the year. Up next for New York, they'll go for the series sweep with Kodai Senga getting the start in this afternoon's series finale with Washington set for a 1:10 p.m. first pitch from Citi Field. In Kansas City, Aaron Judge homered for the 3rd consecutive game. Clark Schmidt allowed just 2 hits over 6 innings, and the Yankees cruised to a 6-3 victory and a series win over the Royals. Paul Goldschmidt added a pair of RBIs during a 5-run second inning for New York, which improved to 5-0 against the Royals this season. Schmidt allowed 1 runner to reach second base, and that was courtesy of his own balk that advanced Michael Garcia in the first inning. He also struck out 7 to remain unbeaten in 6 regular season appearances against the Royals. Devin Williams got the final 2 outs for his 8th save. Judge's homer off Steven Cruz came on the heels of a 2-homer game Sunday against Boston and a 469-foot shot in the series opener against Kansas City on Tuesday night. The 2-time MVP has 8 RBI over that 3-game span. Up next for the Yankees, they'll vie for a series sweep with Will Warren starting tonight's series finale with the Royals set for a 7:40 p.m. first pitch from Kansas City to the hardwood. Last night, your final from Indianapolis saw the Pacers jump out to 2-1 series lead in the NBA Finals, winning Game 3 116-107 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 4 is Saturday, sticking in Indianapolis there. To the ice, we're looking ahead to an 8 p.m. puck drop tonight, Oilers and Panthers for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. That is in Florida, and the Panthers leading that series 2-1. And no, I left this out last time, but today is the start of another major championship in golf. You got the U.S. Open going off today, 6:45 this morning, I believe. The starters will go out. Your favorite is world number 1, Scotty Scheffler. That'll be at Oakmont Country Club.
Oh, my!
Very all right. Sid will be playing. He'll be going off in the 10:10 tee time this morning.
Yeah.
Look out for him. He is your 3rd betting favorite for the weekend. That is your Sports Know, man. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:50. I want to give you another update on this plane that crashed in Western India just a short time ago. It was headed to London. It crashed shortly after takeoff. So here we have more details. There were 232 passengers on board, 12 crew members. Watching video live, you can see black smoke coming from the plane. It crashed in a residential area, and you can see people going in and out of the plane with stretchers, which suggests maybe there are survivors. We don't have a whole lot more than that, but of course, as more details come in, we'll pass them on to you. But here's what we know. This London-based plane, London-bound plane from an airport in Western India, crashing shortly after takeoff. 232 passengers on board, 12 crew members. Of course, as more details come into us, we'll pass them on to you. 5:51. A Pakistani man arrested for allegedly plotting a mass shooting at a Jewish center here in the city on the anniversary of the October 7th attacks.
FBI Director Kash Patel says the Bureau and their partners discovered and put to a stop the plot of 20-year-old Mohammed Khan, who lives in Canada. Patel says Khan planned to travel to New York and commit the attack in support of ISIS, but was instead arrested by Canadian authorities last September as a result of the FBI investigation. Khan has now been extradited to the U.S., facing terrorism charges. James Flippin for 77 WABC News.
WABC News Time 5:52. New York ranked in the top 5 when it comes to dog attacks on mail carriers last year. One of those mail carriers is in Suffolk County. She's been on the job for 27 years. She has been bitten by a number of dogs, and she says the reality is man's best friend is not really a mail carrier's best friend. In fact, cases involving mail carriers getting bitten are on the rise. And in New York, Long Island apparently is the worst place, which is bad for this mail carrier out in Suffolk County. She was bitten by a golden retriever in February.
Every day they're working on trying to get the fence open. As you deliver the mail? Yes, as I walk by.
Yeah, she sees these dogs all the time. The U.S. Postal Service says there were more than 6,000 incidents nationwide last year in which dogs attacked mail carriers. 322 of those cases here in New York, which put us at that ranking of number 5. Long Island's many townships also total the highest number of dog incidents in the state.
They're on a rapid increase, and we're trying to find where the flaw is. Is it the community, or is it training that we need to update for our own service?
I think some of it is just so many people got dogs during the pandemic, and so that's why you're seeing this increase in bites. So if your dog is behind the door, the mail carriers are saying leave it closed when a mail carrier knocks on the door. Apparently, that's when a lot of these attacks take place. The dog just doing what it sort of normally will do, protect its owner.
And I love animals. I love dogs. And, when that happened, it was such a shock to me. They're protective of their owners and their property, especially if there's children there.
Yeah.
You know how they now they arrest the parents when a kid goes to school and shoots up the school?
Right.
Now they arrest the parents. If you're a dog, and I'm a dog lover, but if your stupid dog bites somebody, the owner, especially the mailman, the owner of that dog should go to jail.
Yeah, well,
keep your pets away from people. Nobody wants to come to your house and get bitten by your stupid dog.
No. But I think a lot of it is when they knock on the door to hand over a package, and in that moment, the dog snaps and doing what a dog does, protecting the owner. But you're right. You got to control the dog. Put the dog in another room and then go answer the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If not, they should hold these dog owners responsible.
And everybody thinks their dog is never going to do that, but they're animals at the end of the day.
They say the same thing about their kids.
Yeah.
Their son just killed 20 people. Not my kid.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful boy.
Yeah.
So just make these people, they got to make people responsible for stuff. If the dog comes and bites the mailman, then nobody cares. But if you start telling dog owners, and again, I love dogs, but one thing has nothing to do with the other. If your dog bites somebody, you're going to jail.
I remember when I was a kid. Now, maybe they still carry this around. Dog carriers had this, spray that they could spray the dogs with. Now, I'm sure they, somehow made that illegal. Or maybe they still carry it. I don't know. But in this woman's case, at least out in Suffolk County, either she wasn't able to use it or it didn't work.
Yeah.
The spray. So.
You have a dog?
I do.
How many you got?
I just one little cockapoo, 19 pounds, cute little dog.
Okay, so.
But she could bite somebody. I mean, that's not crazy to think she would do the same thing, even though I've never seen her bite anybody. There's always a first time. So.
What do you guys do to make sure she doesn't bite somebody?
Oh, well, no. I absolutely, if I answer the door, I will put her in another room.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you're a responsible parent.
Or I'll hold her. You know what I mean? I'll grab her and just hold her. So,
sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you go. So,
well, you know what's going to happen now that we had this conversation. Your cute little dog there
is going to bite.
It's going to maim somebody.
Yeah.
Forget about biting them. Take a finger off or something.
Yeah, all 19 pounds of her. But yeah, they can.
Let me tell you something. The little dogs, the ones that are not like big dogs, the little ones,
right?
They're like people. We talk about guys who have the Napoleon complex. The little guys who want to fight with everybody. That's how dogs are. Those little dogs, they get crazy.
Yeah, not my dog, though. She's
not
sweet.
Your dog?
No, she's sweet.
What's the name of your dog?
Bailey.
Why?
Why? That's what my kids named her. Bailey.
After who?
Nobody. Just they thought that was a good dog name.
Yeah, it's a dumb name.
What was your dog's name?
Lucy.
That's really stupid.
Why?
Because that's like a human name.
Well, yes.
Bailey sounds like a dog's name.
My name was my dog was named after I Love Lucy. Even though it was a black, half Doberman Pinscher.
Oh, it wasn't like a red dog.
No, there was no.
Well, then that's really stupid.
I know. Yeah. Well, I was drunk.
That's a good excuse, actually. But you can't use that anymore.
No, not anymore.
No. All right, 5:57. Traffic, transit on the 7s. Here's Joe Nolan.
I had a bunch of people over my house one time. Everyone was drunk, and my little white dog bit Ken Rosado on the ankle.
Really?
Ken Rosado? That's hilarious.
Did he sue you?
No, he was. I used to have this thing every year. A bunch of guys would come over. We'd eat steak and lobster and play cards at night. And he came and just running around. All of a sudden, I hear, and it's Ken Rosado. He's got the dog bit his ankle.
Well, according to Sid, you should then go to jail because you should have controlled
Ken
your
didn't.
dog.
I don't even know if Ken knew, to be honest with you.
No. There's like 3 or 4 other reasons why Joe Nolan should go to jail besides that.
Yeah, well, that's back in the day. Not anymore, no.
Maybe Ken Rosado deserved it. Who knew?
Yeah, really. I don't know what happened.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.